guys, don't forget, before we get into our sneak peek, like, subscribe to the Crime Chat, ring the bell, or this guy's going to come after you.
Previously on CrimeChat.
Kat, I already know what you did because we're doing a double recording.
We're recording 2 episodes, so it's like, okay, same thing.
Right. The only thing that's changed is Kat's background.
Yes.
So
to correlate with the story. And so our older son, it's his birthday.
Happy
So we are
birthday!
taking him and his girlfriend to Helen, Georgia. It's this cute little Bavarian themed town.
Okay.
And so everything is like German food, German beer. We're staying in an Airbnb. We got this cute little like house right on Main Street. And it was cheaper than a hotel, believe it or not. I don't know what we're going to do, but it'll be fun. It'll be a fun weekend.
Well, happy birthday, Quentin.
Happy birthday, buddy.
My plans are I am going to continue to look for a new humble abode. I'm in the market right now looking for some nice, spacious, I want a resort style humble abode. I want a home. They don't have to think of anything. Kat, this week you've mentioned, I know who you're doing the story on because you did mention you are coming over to my neck of the woods, not Florida, but New York. And we are all very familiar with this case. Mm-hmm. I don't know the details, which you're going to get into, but it is a pretty famous case and we should know the details. This is a case we all should know the details. So yeah. And you were very particular. You're like, I need to, what was going on in New York City in 1960. So that's what I focused on, 1960.
Perfect. Yep.
I listed 10 key factors that were going on in New York City at this time. Now, constantly transforming because we have so many different cultures, just a big melting pot. Overall, 1960s in New York City was a time of change that marked social activism, cultural innovation, and political turbulence. The city played a central role in shaping today's culture as we know it.
Well, today we're going to talk about the 1964 murder of Kitty Genovese, bartender walking from her car to her apartment in Queens at about 3 o'clock in the morning. She was attacked and stabbed to death while bystanders witnessed the attack as she yelled for help. Even though one of Kitty's neighbors initially spooked the attacker off, he ran off, but he waited about 10 minutes, came back, stabbed, robbed, and raped Kitty, leaving her for dead on her doorstep.
Hey there, chatters. I'm Nat.
And I'm Kat, and welcome to the Crime Chat. I am your forensic femme fatale. Natalie is your true crime addict connoisseur.
We're just 2 normal girls obsessed with dark crimes, evil minds, and occasionally the unknown.
And we've got Squishy and Nuggy here at the movie theater. So we're 2 normal girls with Squishy and Nuggy.
Oh, that's so cute.
So here's your disclaimer, chatters. The following Crime Chat contains adult content and descriptions of potentially violent scenarios today, so your listener discretion is advised.
You have been warned, and before we get into today's Crime Chat, Kat, what have you done?
So I've got Squishy and Nuggy. They're in the audience with us in a little, scary theme going on behind me. So I set the stage, if you will.
That is so cute.
I told you last time that we were watching, I was binge watching True Blood, and I finished that. And, I kind of rewatching it again. There was so much and I mentioned this last time, but there was so much that I didn't remember. And it was good, though. It was good. And I just want to know who her beau is, Sookie's beau is at the end, because they never show him, but they show that she's pregnant. Like after Bill dies, I'm like,
I forgot her name.
That?
Her name is Sookie.
Sookie Stackhouse.
That's a great. She named a clown that. Sookie Stackhouse.
Sookie Stackhouse. Yes. Since we also talked over the last couple episodes about Game of Thrones, so Chris and I started binge watching Game of Thrones again.
Ooh, okay. What are you up to?
We're at the end of season 2, towards the end of season 2. Okay. And so I was listening to the Wine and Crime podcast, listening to the gals, and the last, Amanda got married.
Yeah.
Okay. So not this last episode that came out, the one before that, their topic was red weddings. So, of course, part of Lucy's intro was talking about the infamous Red Wedding from Game of Thrones, and that's in season 3. So that's coming up. But what about you?
I honestly have not turned on the TV this entire week. I've been prepping, and I know I told you last time that I am searching for a humble abode, and I found a new home. So I will be moving there. Actually, the closing date is the 21st of this month.
Very fast.
Very
fast. Yeah. That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. So the next, I guess in October I'll be recording, hopefully from there. If not, I'll be here. I don't know. But my old studio is now being sold. So it's gonna be a minute before I have my background back. But.
Yes. Well, I know we're going to talk about movie versus reality today, but you asked me to do an intro on true crimes that inspired movies. And the heart-dropping thrillers that we all love are sometimes twisted and eerie enough to think, how the hell could somebody come up with this story, like concoct such a twisted story?
Yeah.
Occasionally, these vile and often morally corrupt movies are actually based on true stories. So I found quite a few articles covering this topic, but I'm going to mention 12 of the most iconic movies based on a true story that I got from movieweb.com. Some of the movies you may recognize, some you may not. I didn't recognize all of them. And there was more than that was listed, but I just pulled out 12 because I'm going to mention another kind of poll after this one. So here we go. 1991, Silence of the Lambs. This one-of-a-kind thriller left an impact on many moviegoers, starring Jodie Foster and Anthony Hopkins. Some say this movie inspired the cultural impact of serial killer fascination, specifically with cannibalism. This movie follows Buffalo Bill, a murderer with a cannibalism fetish who would kidnap women, feed off of them, and then eventually kill them and wear their flesh. While much of the storyline is very similar to the serial killer Ed Gein, it's actually based on an optimistic prisoner who was sentenced to death, bribed a guard to let him escape from prison.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. IMDb also had a biographical true crime genre list that was kind of listed in order based on popularity. So here's the top 5. 1990, Goodfellas comes in at number 2. The story of Henry Hill and his life in the mafia, covering his relationship with his wife, Karen, and his mob partners, Jimmy Conway and Tommy DeVito.
Who is that? I don't think I know who that is. Tommy DeVito. We have spoken about him, but I still don't know what he looks like. Is he related?
So, Tommy DeVito was in Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons.
Oh, that's right.
And he was a good friend of my mother's.
That's right. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. It's all coming back to me.
It's all coming back. It's all coming back to me now. Crimes that have inspired movies, they're out there. They're everywhere.
Yes.
They're everywhere. And they've been everywhere for years.
Yes, they have. So
just when you think it's an original idea, it might not be.
It's never an original idea. Well, thank you for doing that intro. So today, Kat, our crime chat is going to be about the true crime massacre that inspired the movie Friday the 13th. There is a crime behind it.
Wow.
Okay, so now, you know Friday the 13th.
Of course.
We all grew up with that. Okay.
Yeah.
Friday the 13th is a popular horror franchise that began its release in 1980. That's when the first movie was released. As we know, centers around Camp Crystal Lake and eventual killer, Jason Voorhees. Tell me if this sounds familiar.
Okay.
Story begins in 1958 at Camp Crystal Lake, where 2 camp counselors are brutally murdered by an unseen assailant. The camp shuts down in the aftermath, and the lake becomes known as Camp Blood. The story that inspired Friday the 13th is not from the U.S. This story takes us all the way to Finland. On June 4th, 1960, 4 teenagers set out to go camping on the beautiful shores of Lake Bottom near the city of Espoo.